They said it's under investigation. And then they said that they told the doctor, the hospital, that she committed suicide first. And then they changed it.
They called me, the hospital told me that someone just shot her, so they just telling everybody different stories. We're gonna get justice for sure.
For real though, how many of us could stay composed if the cops took out one of our loved ones? What if we see a video of this happening in the courtroom?
Away from my house in the water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
I
rebuke you in the name of
better God, I swear to God, I'll straight your face.
And now they're telling the world how a cop is supposed to behave. Unintelligible. On July 6th, 2024, Sonya Massey was just chilling at home with her family. Everything was peaceful until she heard something outside that spooked her. So she calls 911, thinking they'll come to the rescue. Little did she know, that call was about to make things so much worse. Within a few minutes, Deputy Sean Grayson turned up at the Massey house. That is, the deputy that was supposed to investigate the noise and keep Sonya safe. What went down in the next few minutes would leave the Massey family in shambles forever. And an entire community outraged at the same story happening over and over again until people can't take it anymore. Fast forward to Sonya's family, sitting in the courtroom, hoping for the best but expecting the worst. They already know their beloved Sonya is gone thanks to this monster. Now, they're about to watch the body cam footage recorded by Grayson's partner, showing the entire incident in its full horror. The video starts playing, and at first, it's just Deputy Grayson rolling up. But then, things go from 0 to 100 real quick. Sonya's there, probably thinking she's about to get help, but instead, Grayson starts yelling at her like she's the one who did something wrong. First, he mocks her for making herself a cup of tea. Then, things spiral quickly.
Away from my house in the water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
I
rebuke you in the name of
better God, I swear to God, I'll straight your face.
Unintelligible. A police officer, someone who was supposed to protect people, was talking like that to a scared woman who called for help. And as soon as Sonya protested to his attitude, he used and abused his power, that is, his handgun. Imagine how Sonya's parents felt in the courtroom watching this. Sonya's mama's shaking, her daddy looks ready to jump out of his seat, and Sonya's kids, they're bawling their eyes out. It's heart-wrenching to watch. Hold up, cause it ain't over yet. The footage shows Sonya saying sorry, trying to get out of the way. She's scared out of her wits, but that did not faze Grayson. Boom, boom, boom. Grayson lets off 3 shots. One catches her straight in the head. It's quick, it's vicious, and it'll make your stomach turn. And after he pops her, Grayson addresses his partner like this. Nah, headshot dude, she's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot. Talking about a real person like it's some video game nonsense. This whole scene went down in a hot minute. One sec Sonya's calling for backup, next she's clinging to life. And for what? Cause she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus? Yeah, that's what Grayson claimed. That her statement made him think she was gonna off him. But come on now, that doesn't add up. He had the lethal weapon in his hand, not her. To everyone watching, this was yet another George Floyd. Yet another tragedy brought about by evil, biased officers who abused their power to act on their worst impulses. The courtroom lost it watching this horrific video. Folks hollering, weeping, calling for heads to roll. The Masseys, their whole world just crumbled. And all cause Sonya reached out when she was spooked. This mess is gonna be on everyone's lips for a minute. Bet that. Shows you how life can flip on a dime, how 1 second can change the game forever. Deputy Grayson was stripped of his fancy title and was charged with murder. Let's be clear, this isn't just about Sonya Massey anymore. This concerns every person of color who's ever hesitated to call law enforcement for assistance. It's about officers who believe they can act with impunity. It's about an entire system that desperately needs reform. And as always, it took this tragic event for Grayson's PD to start properly looking into his past. What they found wasn't pretty. He shouldn't have become deputy in the first place. For starters, Grayson moved between jobs at an alarming rate. We're talking about 6 different law enforcement agencies in just 4 years. Now, you might wonder, perhaps he was simply trying to find the right position. But this isn't about finding the right fit. Grayson was misbehaving all the time, and no one wanted them as their employee. Grayson was dismissed from the U.S. Army. This wasn't a minor reprimand. He was discharged for misconduct. The military doesn't typically discharge individuals without serious cause, but there's more to the story. Grayson didn't just have 1 DUI on his record, but 2. In 2015 and 2016, he was charged with driving under the influence. What's even more surprising is that these incidents were known before he was hired as a deputy. Y'all, this raises serious questions about the hiring process and background checks in place. And here's what his boss had to say after the incident.
There was nothing in Grayson's background that could have led us to believe that he would commit this violent act. And we handle thousands of calls every year without incident. We've had 3 officer-involved shootings in the last 24 years. And so my message is that we're still the same sheriff's office.
That's right. He lied through his teeth to protect their image. As far as he was concerned, everything was fine and dandy. Grayson was in jail, and they could continue business as usual. Except everything isn't okay. Sonya Massey is gone, and she did nothing to deserve this. The Massey family is in complete disbelief. Can you blame him? James Wilburn, Sonya's old man, put it plain. "I want to tell y'all the sheriff here is an embarrassment," Wilburn said. "This man, Grayson, should have never had a badge, and he should have never had a gun. He should have never been given the opportunity to kill my child." Now let's break down what this means for all of us. How in the world did someone with Grayson's history end up as a deputy? Who's going through these applications? Who's running these background checks? They handing out badges at the corner store now or what? In the right move, James called for Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell to resign. This ain't just about Grayson. It's about a whole system that's more messed up than a football bat. If a guy like Grayson can slip through, how many other bad seeds are out there wearing badges?
They said it's under investigation. And then they said that they told the doctor, the hospital, that she committed suicide first. And then they changed it.
That's right. Authorities lied to the Masseys time and time again, making various lame attempts to cover their butts instead of getting justice for an innocent life lost.
They called me, the hospital told me that someone just shot her, so they just telling everybody different stories. We're gonna get justice for sure.
Even the first responding officer to the crime scene was lied to.
All life matters. Black lives matter. When I got to the scene, the officer notified me that it was under investigation. We knew that she had problems with her nature. Not once was I told that the officer did it. They tried to make me believe that it was the neighbor or somebody did it.
Yeah, they are that audacious. And listen, the Massey family's been through the ringer, but they ain't letting Sonya's death be in vain. They went from breaking down to standing up and demanding justice. It's like they found a strength they never knew they had. Remember how they were falling apart watching that footage? Now they're out here making waves and shaking things up. They've been holding rallies, talking to reporters, making sure everyone knows Sonya's story. They flipped the script from victims to fighters. At one of their protests, Sonya's daddy, James Wilburn, stood up there looking fierce and called for justice. He wasn't asking nice, he was demanding. And the crowd? They were right there with him, shouting Sonya's name like it was a battle cry. Then there was the scene at the rally they held with Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton. The Masseys were holding it down, looking like they was ready to flip the whole game. Sonya's sis had her picture up high, keeping it real about what this fight's for. And her tough son was still there, stating the obvious.
I would have never in the world thought the police shot my mom. Like how?
Exactly. Good people like him trust others. You would never imagine someone on the right side of the law could behave like this, and yet it happens, over and over again. And listen, the word's spreading like wildfire. From the hood to the hill, everybody's got Sonya's name on their tongue. It's like her stories lit a match under folks' behinds, and that fire ain't going out. Sonya deserved better, and her family is fighting hard for her story to be told, and that heinous body cam footage to reach every screen in the US, because only this way can we see some positive change and monsters like Grayson brought to justice. Chi-Town saw thousands flood the streets, signs up, voices loud. Justice for Sonya and BLM everywhere you look. But it ain't just cardboard and Sharpie. These folks are heated, and they're making sure the whole world feels that heat. Eventually, even President Biden commented on the matter. When we call for help, all of us as Americans, regardless of who we are or where we live, should be able to do so without fearing for our lives. Vice President Harris also said Sonya Massey deserved to be safe. After she called the police for help, she was tragically killed in her own home at the hands of a responding officer sworn to protect and serve. Exactly. Now, the prosecution wants to see Grayson rot in prison. They're saying it clearly. He had no reason to use deadly force on Sonya Massey. He's, in short, a deranged, trigger-happy cop who shot first and asked questions later. The prosecutor said, a review of the Illinois State Police investigation, including the body-worn camera footage, does not support a finding that Deputy Sean Grayson was justified in his use of deadly force. Grayson's questionable defense attorneys are sticking to his story. He felt threatened by Sonya's statement and acted in self-defense. They're trying to say that in the heat of the moment, with all that adrenaline pumping, Grayson made a split-second decision to protect himself. Yeah, right, protect yourself from what? A vulnerable lady in a house robe, making herself a cup of tea and asking for protection protection. Y'all, hats off to Sonya's family for staying strong during this awful time, and let's just hope that their voices will help bring justice to Sonya and see this monster in prison forever.